Feather, light, work, asking, answer, accepting, honoring, all we are, earth to star.
Sometimes I have this idea that a healing journey is supposed to be easy, but in actuality, healing is work. Healing is work. Healing sometimes looks like suffering.
Sometimes.
Healing sometimes looks like exercise, fasting. It looks like sacrifice. It looks like work. Do you feel that way?
I do. And sometimes it feels like joy and laughter and making love.
True. Yeah, everything's true of healing. Let's talk about healing. Let's talk about what it is and what it isn't, because I just want us to be real with it. For me, my healing journey with headaches has been a really strange trip, a long, strange trip. Sometimes that trip has been like a really devoted exertion of energy, giving my power away to all these other alternative healing practitioners. And, I feel now that I am the one best capable of taking care of myself, taking care of my well-being, making the strong choices that would lead to my feeling of health and well-being. Let's talk about health and well-being. What is healing? And if you look it up in the dictionary, you might see words like recovery, repair, renewal, rejuvenation. I would venture to say remembrance. There is this idea that we have, a clear state, a balanced state, a state of feeling good in our body, a possibly euphoric state, possibly ecstatic state that is natural enough to achieve. And, if we're in a state of homeostasis, if we're in a balanced state in our body, heart, mind, soul, and spirit, I imagine that ought to feel good. And sometimes it just doesn't. So that's a strange thing to comprehend. A lot of people who battle chronic pain, we throw our hands up in the air and we're like frustrated, and we're constantly looking, searching outside of ourselves for like a remedy. And it's upsetting to me to look at the pharmaceutical industry that can, prescribe something and call it medicine that blankets the actual cause of the thing, and instead lets the cause continue to wreak havoc and create disruption and dysregulation and disorientation and dis-ease, while the cause continues to run its course, and the symptoms, which might be headache, insomnia, whatever, can be mended on a surface level by some drugs. And that's the same way people treat social anxiety or insecurity or whatever with alcohol, all the varieties of drugs, anything that affects the way our minds and body works. I don't know who draws the line between what's a legal drug and what's an illegal drug, but I see some really strange legal drugs that seem very dangerous to me. It's a funny thing. At some point, we have to be checking in with ourselves, what's really right and true and working for us, and go from there when it comes to our healing paths.
Absolutely. And I think it's really important to mention that sometimes it takes a minute to get to this place of understanding, to get to this place of knowing that we have to advocate for our own health and wellness, that there's nothing wrong about having a medical team or specialists that you work with, but really feeling into what's going on first and really feeling into how you're feeling about potential doctor recommendations or just lifestyle recommendations, anything you're reading, anything you're consuming. consuming, anything that's suggesting that you do A, B, and C to feel better, really check in with how that's landing in your body. Really take the time to research things that you're drawn to. Really take the time to understand how much you can do with the basics that we've been provided since day one. Hydration, sleep, exercise, connection to nature. Those 4 things have helped me overcome anxiety and depression far more than anything else, to be completely straightforward and honest. So there's so much we can work with before we step outside and start really messing with heavier or challenging or bigger situations. So I often recommend for myself and for my clients and for friends and family, the very first place I start is usually hydration, checking in with the water.
Yeah, so let's identify some of these starting places to make sure we're covering our bases. Anytime I'm experiencing a headache, I'm automatically making sure I'm hydrated. I'm checking to see if I've exercised, if my spine is aligned, if I'm practicing good posture, making sure I'm getting exercise every day, making sure my diet is balanced and nutritious, going down my checklist, whatever your checklist is. Your checklist might be totally different. And that's a good starting place. We have these healthy habits, we have these routines. We often can identify what's dysregulating and, remove that culprit and bring the remedy so we feel good again. But it's not always that simple. I'm really talking about something bigger than these simple hangover headaches or whatever we might be experiencing. I'm talking about a chronic issue or a long endured challenge, cancer, anxiety, the depression, long lasting things that seem to disturb people over time, and they can create a sense of woe. I'm really talking about these long endured hardships, and I'm recognizing that it's natural for some of us, for whatever reason, to face this trying period, and this too shall pass. By some miracle, when I'm doing my work, I always reach a point of ecstasy again. I always, move through the hardship and get to a point of feeling good in my body, heart, mind, soul, and spirit. I have to move that energy, though. I can't be stuck in it. I can't be shutting down my entire life because of the ailment. I have to continue doing my work. And doing your work is the point that I want to return to here. Sometimes there's just a mystery, there's a dis-ease, and I can't put my finger on it. And that's okay. I'm still going to do my work. I'm still going to, continue showing up for myself, doing the best I can with my earth walk. And by the end of the day, I'm going to, have peace in my spirit, knowing that I tried my best and trusting that I'm okay. Sometimes I think of myself like a rose with my petals and thorns. And of course, I adore those parts of myself that are beautiful and pleasant. And sometimes when I recognize those parts of myself that are sharp and hurt people, I question why I have those thorns. I think all of us has beauty in us. All of us has ugliness in us too. And hopefully we can all find a way to accept all we are, to honor all we are, to celebrate all we are. We are who we are for a reason. When I look around, being the flower I am, I recognize that I am designed divinely to grow and thrive and prosper. I'm here to flourish, not only to sprout up, but to blossom and bear fruit. That's the way I see it for myself. That's the way I imagine it for all of us. I feel so blessed, so fortunate to have a place now, a friendship, a family, a home place where I can be with like-minded souls who also see beauty all around, who also witness, this divine benevolent force, this creator who loves me, who sustains my lungs, who beats my heart, even without my awareness. Something out here, something with me, loves me so much, exactly as I am. And isn't that a beautiful thing, to be loved? So I really just want to encourage you to stay true to your path, pursue your passion, continue to look for that place of purpose, belonging, and what lights you up. And honoring your life force, honoring your body, heart, mind, soul, and spirit to the best of your ability will help you feel good in your heart at the end of the day, whether or not you have a headache, whether or not you're able to sleep very well. I personally continue coming back to the fact that I rise and shine every single day. I have so much love in my life, even if I have a headache, which doesn't happen every day, even if I have fatigue or a flat tire or whatever, all these things I had just today. I'm still cool. I'm secure inside my heart because I know I'm on a path of life affirmation instead of a path of destruction. And I'm putting the power in my own hands too. I'm like holding the reins instead of giving the reins to somebody else.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a really good point that Cabe brings up, because he's talking about through his journeys and trying to work with these chronic headaches that he was experiencing. He went through a lot of holistic remedies. He went through a lot of holistic practitioners, all sorts of different modalities, trying to fix and work with this situation. And in a lot of ways, we can look at that and be like, well, that was a lot of time and that was a lot of money, and you may have not fully gotten to exactly where you wanted. But the reality is that every time that he tried something, he got a little bit closer to this understanding that he was the one that holds the healing. So, and I can resonate this in my own way, because I have many times saw outside myself, and there's still some beautiful things that happen outside ourselves. Cabe often offers me energetic medicine that helps and heals me in a big way. And I hope that I can do the same thing for him as well. So it's not to say that these outside of ourselves practitioners can't offer us some solace, offer us some nurturing, some healing, some of the medicine that we really need. But sometimes the greatest medicine that comes from these experiences is the inner knowing, or closer to the realization that that's not what we needed, and that didn't really fix the situation, but it brought us this golden nugget of, maybe I can do this myself. Let me just trust myself a little bit more. And instead, every time that we may have had the ailment from there on, we might have come home a little bit more instead of going out. And sometimes I'm still going to go out. I'm still going to try acupuncturist or other things that come in. We both regularly see a chiropractor. Obviously there's things that we do regularly in the medical profession, but just that knowing that we can go inward, and sometimes we have to go outward and maybe not meet our expectations for us to come home a little bit more. So I find true value in even those moments where we didn't even see change, because we get into the car and we're like, dang, I could have done that myself. And that right there is pure gold, to just really feel that, because there was a moment where we didn't feel that we could do anything ourselves. So that massive soul evolution, that massive homecoming is true healing. It's true acknowledgement of our inner power, and it has to come about some way, and it has to usually come through experience. So I find there to be great value in those lackluster experiences. They bring us back home to self.
Yeah, and trust me, I'm advocating 100% to feel it in order to heal it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying go numb here. I'm saying really feel it, examine it, do our work to remedy whatever kind of ails us in whatever way we see fit. Now, I'm also not saying I would bypass the expert opinion of another person outside of me who might have a specialty or whatever in my area of suffering. For example, one time I used to be a soccer player, and I witnessed people all around me blowing out their knees. And at one point it felt like I had just one tendril, one little string holding it all together left. Thought everything was destroyed. So I went to a doctor to see. I had the idea that I needed surgery because everybody else was getting surgery and my knee was feeling wrecked. But he said something that really lifted my spirits and empowered me as an individual. He said, I have jumper's knee. I just need to put a little band across it and exercise all these muscles around it. Here are the exercises I need to do, these squats, whatever. So he prescribed some a self-care regimen for myself to exercise those muscles around that area of injury in order to rehabilitate it naturally. And I'm so thankful for that. That worked wonders. This was like 10 years ago. I've never had any kind of knee issue since then. I've had even stronger legs than before. I can probably go and play soccer again like I used to. I definitely see value in every single angle of the medical industry, including the pharmaceutical industry. I just recognize that there's motivations for prescribing medicines that might not be true to what's best for us. So it's always about doing our work, checking in with the guide inside to know and feel and resonate with what's right for us. Muscle testing.
Yeah, I was just going to say that.
Soon we'll tell you all about muscle testing. This is a way to, gauge, check in with our inner knowing, really ask directly that guide inside who knows. Apparently, all of it, all the information is available inside of each one of us, which is amazing.
Yeah, our bodies have a remarkable availability to our consciousness. Our bodies are so conscious and aware, and they know what they want. And I'm talking about this as if like a third person, as if I am not my body. And that's kind of confusing to me. But also, I know that my mind plays a big role in my human earth walk. And sometimes my ego and other aspects of my consciousness and other parts of me that may be a little bit out of balance, maybe a little bit dysregulated, will kind of jump in and speak. And sometimes that's not for my highest and best. But that is a very literal articulation of what's going on in our heads. There's all sorts of different thoughts and things. And, just coming to this space here, I was trying to figure out how to layer my jackets and talking to myself and where's the vest and the scarf and this and that. And that's a very silly example, but that's how our mind makes decisions. So the kinesiology or applied kinesiology, which is the muscle testing, can bypass some of those rabbit holes and get to a level of consciousness that's really more serving without all that ego.
Yeah, so to work toward conclusion, I would say for me, my body, just like my heart and my mind, are speaking to me all the time. Yeah. And when they're saying, I need your attention, I sure better give it to them. Just like my kids. If they need my attention, I'm going to give them my attention. If they're asking for my attention, I'm going to be receptive to whether or not they need my attention. But in my inner knowing, I'll know if this needs my attention. And if it doesn't get my attention now, I better make space for that to have my awareness, my attention, my acceptance, all the levels of wrestling and reckoning with what is really, really existing, being real with what we feel, Mm-hmm. That's how the healing journey happens.
You know what they say? They say you better make space and time for your wellness, or you'll definitely make space and time for your illness.
True. So my final thought, I guess, is this. Healing, health, well-being, it might look like a headache sometimes. Being healthy and well might look a little bit off, a little bit wonky sometimes. It might look like an argument. It might look like an instant of frustration. It might look like throw your hands up in the air, ready to give up. That doesn't mean you're sick. That doesn't mean I'm messed up. That doesn't mean everything's wrong in the world. I just have a hiccup. That we can be healthy and well, whole, full, holy, with these wobbles. That doesn't make us weak. That doesn't make us debilitated or disabled. It just means we're dysregulated in a moment, and that's a state, not a trait.